Crested porcupine, and she is named for two reasons. One, this species hails out of Africa. Go figure. And then the last one is that cool mohawk crest she has there up on her forehead. Now, African crested porcupines here, sorry, got a little bit of a stutter, are the second largest rodent in the world. They're second to the capybara. And being a rodent, this means they must continuously grind down their teeth as their teeth are ever growing. In the wild, they do this by chewing on a bunch of hard woods and even bones. However, Quillo here can do that by chewing on woods and some hard root-like vegetables. Her favorite of which is jicama. Quillo here is the youngest animal in our collection. She's only 3 years old and will be turning 4 here soon. She also is covered in a bunch of quills. Imagine that. Now, you may commonly believe that porcupines can shoot these quills if they feel threatened. This is actually a misconception. These are specialized hairs, very similar to our hair and fingernails, and they're even made out of keratin, the same material as ours. And they serve as protection, but in 3 forms that do not require shooting them out of our body. First of which is she can flare up those big, long black and white ones to make herself look really big and scary. If you take a look down by her tail, you'll notice some thicker white ones. She can rattle those like a really loud noise. And if she can't scare off a predator by making herself really big and loud, all else fails, these guys are very sharp. She can just back herself up on into him. Give it up for Quillo, everybody. All right, my next animal ambassador requires a little bit of a prop setup here, so I'm gonna set that on up. He is the world's only true flying mammal. That's a trick question. Anybody know what it might be? I hear bats. That is correct. We're gonna be bringing out Bacardi. He is our giant Indian fruit bat. Oh, got a little bit of a knot. Ta-da! There we go. All right, this is the hardest part of my job, so bear with me here a little bit. Hiya! Come on, so close. Got it! Thank you. All right, here comes Bacardi, everybody. Once again, he is a giant Indian fruit bat, and he is the second largest species of bat in the world, second to the Malaysian fruit bat, which has a wingspan of 6 feet. Bacardi here has a wingspan on average of about 4 feet, and the smallest bat in the world is the size of a little tiny bumblebee. These guys are super, super amazing because one, they spend most of their life upside down. They're only ever upright for 2 reasons. One, to either go to the bathroom, or 2, when they're flying. These guys also are an amazing bunch of different types of feeders. You got the fruit bats here that tend to eat fruit and nectar. Then you got your insectivores, which help us eat mosquitoes, those pesky little guys. And then you got 3 known species to drink blood. But don't worry, these guys prefer livestock, so you got nothing to worry about with vampires. Now, these guys are super, super abundant in the wild. 1 in every 5 mammals you'll encounter will probably be a bat. And that's because they span over 1,300 different species. There's a lot of bats in the world. If you take a close look at his wings as he shows off there, you'll notice a couple of cool little phalanges. These are very similar to our fingers. If you've ever wondered what a bat's wing feels like, just give the back of your eyelid a little rub there. Feels just like that thin membrane skin there. Now, with these guys, they have very, very strong muscles in their wings. To give you an idea, if humans had wings like bats off of our fingers would need to be 7 feet long in order to lift ourselves up into the air. All right, give it up for Bacardi, everybody. Now, for our next animal, we're gonna make a little escape down into the boat here because we're gonna be bringing out a large bird. Now, if you've ever looked up into the air around here, you probably have noticed a couple of turkey vultures flying around. The next animal coming out is gonna be a close relative to the turkey vulture. Her name is Stella, and she is called a king vulture. And these guys come from South America, and you might notice a few key differences. One being, she is a lot differently colored. Second, she has a very large orange flappy thing on her nose. And this has a really fun name. It's called a caruncle. And this is a specialized organ that helps determine the successfulness of an individual king vulture. The brighter and larger that caruncle is, the more successful, which means this is very important for finding a mate, fending off territory, and just overall trying to be the king of the king vultures. Now, when she decides to come off of the rock, because she is king of the rock, she will be showing off her wings a little bit. And king vultures are the second largest vulture in the world, second to those Andean condors. Her wingspan is about 6 feet, so she's a pretty big bird. My personal favorite fact about vultures, not just the king vultures, but all vultures in general, is that these guys lack a syrinx. So rather than your typical bird calls that you'd expect with most birds, vultures can only communicate in grunts and hisses. And they are some of the coolest sounds, but they're a bit spooky, so perfect for Halloween time. Give it up for Stella, everybody. Speaking of spooky, anybody here a little bit of a reptile lover? Anybody like some scaly friends? Awesome, we're gonna be bringing out some snakes for you today. The first of which is going to be Michelle. Michelle here is an eastern indigo snake. And she comes from the southeastern states. So you can find these guys down in Georgia, Florida, and other neighboring states down there. Now, her primary feature that really sets her apart is that indigo part of her name. If the sun were a bit more nice to us and she was shining off a bit more, you'd see these really gorgeous iridescence that is a gorgeous indigo blue color. It is truly a sight to see. She is an amazing snake. This type of species of snake is the largest native species in the US. They grow to be up to around 9 feet long, so they're pretty large snakes. These guys feed off of small rodents, small birds, and eastern indigo snakes even eat other snakes. These guys though, you don't gotta worry about coming after you, because fun fact for all snakes is they have a couple of limitations on what they can and cannot eat. You may have the common belief that they can unhinge their jaw. However, they can't. They only have a double hinged jaw, which allows them to drop and widen their jaw up to 2 times the size of their head. In addition to that, they can't eat anything that's larger than the largest spot of their body that Virginia is helpfully showing off here. So as long as you're not the size of a small mouse, you're perfectly safe. These guys are amazing little guys because they are just truly amazing, slithery little friends. They have managed to overcome their ability to move around without limbs by using their specialized scales. Personal fun fact about all snakes is they don't have eyelids, so they are the kings of staring competitions. You will lose, do not attempt. These guys, when they are ready to shed, will shed off their eye caps with the rest of their skin. So if you ever find some cool snake skin, make sure you look out for their eyes. Give it up for Michelle, everybody. All right, my next fun friend coming out today, I gotta set up another prop for. This one's a bit easier than the rope though. I just gotta make sure I'm tall enough. Our next animal coming on out, his name is Trooper. He's gonna be a large cat. He may initially, when he comes out, look like a baby cheetah, but guess what? This guy's his own species of large cat. He is an African serval. Some key features between cheetahs and Trooper here is that he has spots and stripes, not just spots. In addition to that, he's got some pretty long legs. African servals have the longest leg to body size ratio out of any of the large cats. And as he's about to show us off here, it's great for jumping. He can jump up to 6 feet vertically and over 12 feet horizontally. And this is great for the wild grasslands in Africa that he comes from, because if he were to scare off a bird or a small rodent, he could easily jump up after it, as he showed off there. As he's showing us the back of his ears too, take a look at those cool little white spots there. These are called follow me spots, and this has 2 purposes. One, to mimic eyes on the back of his head, because you know, if you're a cat in the grasslands, you want to make sure nothing's coming up to sneak up behind you. And then the second is for mama servals and their little kittens, so that the kittens don't get lost and they can continue to find their mom in the grasslands. Give it up for Trooper, everybody. All right, for my reptile lovers, we're gonna be bringing out another slithery friend today. His name is Salazar, and he is going to be the longest snake in our collection. He is a coastal carpet python, and these guys hail from Australia. And take a close look at his colors as he's coming around, because these guys have an amazing form of camouflage called counter shading. And that is because these guys are semi-arboreal, so they are on the ground and up in trees. And this counter shading, which is the fact that he has dark on top and really light colors underneath, allows him to blend in from any predators that could be searching both high and low for him. Imagine you were, let's say, a predatory bird up in the sky, and you're looking down in the trees. You wouldn't be able to see him because his dark colors is blending in with the ground and the leaves as the bird is looking down. Now imagine you were, let's say, a large feline and you're looking up in the trees for anything to hunt. You'd only see the light color of his belly. This guy is an amazing player at hide and seek. You're not gonna find him. Trust me, I've tried. Now, once again, this guy, you don't gotta worry about him coming after you because he can't eat anything that's super large. In addition to having that cool double hinge jaw, the fun fact about snakes' jaws is that they don't have a fused chin. So they don't have this cool little part right here. They have two different sides of their bottom jaw that they can then help walk back that food as they swallow it whole. And an additional fun fact about these guys is their amazing different types of scales. Along their belly, they have amazing plate-like scales, and this is how they help themselves slither around. In addition to the undulating of their body in that cool S shape that we all look about, these guys have cool scales that allow them to help inch themselves forward with that undulating motion. These guys come in a wide variety of different colors, but you'll primarily find them in these cool, gorgeous greens. And once again, if you do have a fear of snakes, you got nothing to worry about because one, these guys can't eat you, but two, they tend to be more scared of us than we are of them. If you're ever encountering a snake in the wild and you're a bit nervous, just make sure you take a couple steps back, give them their space, and go your separate ways. You'll be completely safe. All right, give it up for Sal, everybody. All right, we're gonna be moving on sadly to the last animal in our show, but don't worry, he's a pretty great finale. And I'm gonna make my way over here, because in addition to being pretty great, he's pretty large. We're gonna be bringing out a large canine. This here is Wyatt, and he is our gray wolf. He lives here with his packmate Aria, which you can probably hear in the background. And today is a very important day for our gray wolves because it is Wolf Awareness Week, and today we are celebrating Wolf Awareness Day. So Wyatt here is 10 years old, and his packmate Aria is 6. If you'd like to see more of them, they do live across from the cheetahs. And as you hear Aria in the background, you might remember that these guys howl a lot, but they also have other forms of communication. Howling is primarily used for finding each other over long distances. Give it up for Wyatt, everybody. And they primarily communicate through their body language. After the show, we will be having a trainer talk with them out in the yard around 3 o'clock if you'd like to go get a closer look. In addition to that, we have our conservation sponsors here with us today, and I'm going to